Hi, today we're talking about when therapy feels like treading water. And this is therapy that we're doing for anxiety, depression, and PTSD recovery, post traumatic stress disorder recovery. And this topic's really important, especially as a therapist. I used to have sessions like this. I used to host sessions like this in the beginning of my work more often than I wanted to. And I really got to feel what that felt like, and also really think about, why is this showing up? And then not only just why is this showing up, how do I overcome this? How do I help clients overcome this? Because by the time we're in therapy trying to resolve anxiety, depression, traumatic stress disorders, we cannot waste energy treading water more than we already need to. And so it's really an exhaustive place and can really drain out our resources, our hope, our empowerment, our time, our right. Our lives are asking us to be mentally well, and so the longer we spend in that treading water phase, no, right, the worse that it is for our life and ourself, and we're already depleted. And so what I really found were the things I'm going to share in this video, and I really want you to see it from my perspective. And addressing these issues in the way that I learned to address them, and I'm going to share that as well, really prevented this from happening any further. And so when my clients come in with me, they cook because that I've set them up to cook, not because they come in knowing how to cook. When people start working with me, their brain, and by cook, I mean resolve symptoms, heal, resolve disorders, build health and wellness, the things that brains need to be doing, we get to it and we stay on it. And so, because that's what I feel like I'm being hired for. And that's what I wanted. That's what, when I was going through my mental health crisis, get me out of this. Let's not delay this or take a long time, and or take longer than we need to. And so through trial and error, these are the points that I think are the most helpful, and that are going to get you the best results, and also help you understand your brain and its role in your recovery, and how to set it up for success. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm Rachel McLeod. I'm a mental health therapist and an emotional wellness coach, and I specialize in helping people do the brain work for resolving anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. And I specialize in complex PTSD recovery. And the brain has a beautiful process for these things, for healing and resolving these issues, and also building health and wellness. But that process gets stopped and blocked. And so your brain can't do what it's part of this. And so you're like, go do it. And your brain's like, I can't. And so you will stay with symptoms until this resolves, and often for the rest of one's life. We see that happen all the time. But really, what I specialize in is really talking to, supporting a different part of the brain and getting that part to unblock the healing process. And then that healing process runs beautifully, and we're watching symptoms resolve, resolve, resolve. That's going to be a key point in this. But I just want you to understand where I'm coming from, and the perspective I have in this is that I'm really helping brains do the healing work required for resolving symptoms, overcoming disorders, and then also building health and wellness, and helping you realize, self-actualize, and realize your dream life. So that's the longevity of my process. Start A to B to Z, or whatever we're at with that. But and that's my bias coming in. That's gives you a lot of insight into why I have set things up the way I've set these up. Also, if your brain can't do it, it's not going to get done. That's a big principle here. So, one of the very first reasons why we stay in a treading water situation in therapy, going every week, uh, talking about the same stuff, uh, feeling a little bit of boost, and then going back home, is one, therapy is supportive, right? But uh, but it might not be enough support that your brain needs. Brains require support to do their healing work. That's the principle of everything here. That's why I support that part of the brain to get things running. But before we get to supporting that part of the brain, uh, you need support. And people and professionals that support you are part of helping your brain cook, do all that work that it needs to get done. And so the more you build your support system, the more you have a support system, the better. And so this is something I'm checking with clients instantly, intuitively, is, what's our support system look like? Many people come from family systems where there's lots of people, but it's not supportive. It's the opposite of supportive. So that doesn't count as your support team. So I want to know who's supporting you. If you have a small support system, this is going to take longer. Your brain's not going to get enough support. And so we're going to be facing some treading of water. So I like to help people build like and encourage. I don't want to use the word demand because I don't demand, but I strongly lean into building a support system. And so you can bring whoever onto your system that you need um, because it needs to be actual support. It needs to be you get it, you feel supported. Yes, like um, medication support, the right therapist? Do you need a marriage counselor on your team? Do you need an acupuncturist, a massage therapy, an energy medicine practitioner, a naturopath, a chiropractor, a physician? Do you not have that? And a lot of these, when you don't have a support system, a lot of these paid professionals will substitute for a while because honestly, your brain does not care. It just wants support. And medication support can be supportive chemically, right? Acupuncture is supportive energetically, energy medicine, right? But our system's designed to receive enough support. That is why these symptoms are showing up, is that we don't have enough support. So, to avoid the treading water place, and this is a simple one, right? This is low hanging fruit, but it's not simple if you have relationship trauma, right? If you have relationship trauma, we're going to see you not have healthy relationships around you. It's part of this challenge. And if you have relationship trauma, you're not going to really want tons of people around you. So you're going to hear me talk about building your support system, and you're going to be like, I love that, Rachel, but and that's okay. That's that's an okay place to be, right? I'm going to talk about resistance and how awesome that is and what to do with that in a little bit. I want your resistance. Tell me all about why you're resisting all the things. It's a great thing, but um, but part of a healthy humans are healthy systems and communities. So uh, this seems like a no-brainer, and especially if you've lived without support for so long, your brain is like, who needs support, right? And I get that. It's like talking to fish about water, right? Um, it's just it's there all the time. What do you mean? But for those of us without lots of support, it's like, why would I need support? I know. Play with me here, and I just want you to know, if you're treading water, this could be a missing ingredient. If you're treading water in therapy, you're putting in lots of effort, you're showing up all the time, but you're not getting anywhere, and the shore still looks the same distance away. How discouraging, right? And so this having building your support team can be a really big part of this. Okay, let's step back. Let's step in a little bit. There's the next point here, and this is I really want you to see that when we are trying to overcome anxiety, depression, traumatic stress, your brain is going to have to do all of this. If your mind body system doesn't complete their work of resolving symptoms, you don't get your symptoms resolved. You can learn all about them, you can know all about your symptoms. That does not mean they will resolve. And so, your brain and your mind body system all working together cohesively is the star of the anxiety, depression, and PTSD symptom resolution team, okay, of the story. So, they have to be set up to really thrive. Okay, so one of the things that we need to do is we need to get the brain up to processing speed. And there is usually, by the time someone gets a therapy, a ton of symptoms running around. And all of those symptoms, if you understand your brain, if you can empathize your brain, are things your brain has to resolve. But it's also your brain's training ground, because these symptoms that are showing up right here are just the flowers of the problem. The symptoms, the roots are deeper, right? And so all these symptoms are your practice ground, because pretty soon we're going to actually have to get to the root issues. And if your brain can't do this, it's not going to be able to do the root. And it's already telling us, because there's so many symptoms here, we're not converting symptoms into wellness, which is your brain's entire job. So we need to get your brain successful. So we don't need to be perfect, but we need to start taking some of these things and get them resolved. And that means to do that, we have to send enough safety signals to your survival system part of the brain in the way that it likes, in order for us to convince it to step aside and let the healing pathways open and flow. Let the healing teams work. Now, this part, the survival system part of the brain, is very influenceable, but it feels like it's not because we don't usually talk to it in the way that it responds to. But it's listening to the body. So when we start using interventions that use our body, we are actually talking and influencing that part of the brain, and it responds instantly. It's electrical. This is an electrical process. So if we can get your survival system shift out of the way, it's the gatekeeper, right? So all of a sudden the gate is open, and for whatever time your survival system's decided and supported to stay out of the way, that thing's running, and it's electrical, so it's a lot. In the beginning, we're going to do about 30 seconds, and then when we stop, your brain's going to go right back to how it was. But we're going to see what your brain did with those 30 seconds of support. How much electrical communication did we get through? How much feedback loop did we run? And we're going to watch your brain do some different things. That's going to let us know if it liked the support we gave it or not. Right? I do trainings on this. I have a free program where I talk about this, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But if you're interested, I go in depth in my free program, Interventions for Inner World Transformation. You can find that on my website, and the link is below. So, but we've got to learn how to work with your survival system, and then once we get it working and we can get it to open the gate, step out of the way and open the gate, right? All the healthy top parts of the brain, higher functionings, come back online, and the body and the mind have all these conversations that resolve your symptoms. That sensation of tightness in your chest, after that gets all the way through, that resolves, right? And so we need to get enough successes along the way that your brain catches up with the processing. And this is part of getting the brain to processing speed. But what happens, the challenge in therapy sessions, is you have 60 minutes with your therapist. And so we can do this exercises with you for 60 minutes. But if your brain actually every week needs 7 hours of support to get caught up, or some of my clients 14 hours a week to get caught up, we are actually still working at a negative input. We're giving 1 hour of support, and so we still have 13 hours left of need. So your brain is still going to create lots and lots of symptoms, right? And so in that 1 hour, we're getting our head out the water, and we're breathing. We're like, okay. And then we go right back. So I'm not for this, because this is torture, because you can also see it and then all of a sudden it's gone. And then you can see it and then it's gone, and it's just depleting, even though we're making some progress. So what I have done is I've taught my clients how to work with their brain. And then I tell them, do this a lot between sessions. Do these interventions about up to 2 hours a day between sessions. And when I see you next time, then we'll see where you're at and we'll jump in there. Because what I know is that if they use their interventions at home, which I give them the ones that have no known side effects, are very simple to use, and some healthy guidelines and protective guidelines to follow. And they do a wonderful job. I was nervous in the beginning, but it turns out that people do a really great job with their own brain. And so really, it's been really powerful because I can have 1 hour session with clients, and we can really do a lot of brain work together. And then I know their brain is going to get more hours of support between our next session because they're going to do their work. Now, this has been a huge game changer for me, because this one brain is getting up to 14 hours of work each week. That means 14 sessions, pretty much, and better sessions than I can give you, because you're actually doing the brain work in your actual home with your actual environment where your brain struggles. And so your brain is actually it's like in life, you're having these obstacles and you're actually coming and pushing your brain up over the obstacles. And your brain's like, oh, that's how you do it. That's the design. We're not cheating. Brains are designed for support. They work best when they have support. You can tell the most successful people have had support in that area where they are successful. So do it. Give your brain this. So, but this is also why I make my programs available to you all, because I know that probably your therapist might have been like me and being like, I don't know, I don't know if you can, if you'll do okay. Should I give you these or not? I've already done this enough times to know that you will do a beautiful job with your brain. You do need some guidelines, but I provide those as well. So um, try an intervention, work with it, and then work with it, do it a lot. Because your brain needs to show up powerfully everywhere, and it's going to need your support. And you'll start learning where it needs support and where it doesn't. But in the beginning, just go. Just try it on everything. This is what I encourage people to do within guidelines, right? Okay, so, but the first thing is to get the brain up to healing speed, and that takes a bit of time. Now, if I have clients coming in and they are so overwhelmed that they can't process anything, we are not doing much in therapy but this. And I promise you, you're not going to have a good time with Rachel if all you're doing is tapping and collarbone breathing. And because you're going to be like, I could do this at home. Yes. Yes, you can. That's exactly right. And you're going to be like, why am I paying her to do this with me? Yes, I know, right? And I feel the same way. And I'm trying to protect your dollars too. And who have the insurance company's dollars, right? So let's do this stuff at home because you can. And that's a really great attitude to start coming out. I love it when that happens because that's like a sign of empowerment, right? I could do this at home. Yes. My feelings are not hurt at all because when you come back, I'm going to watch and I'm going to get to geek out about how much your brain has accomplished. I will see it. I will know it. I will see where ideas are coming together. My clients this week have been popping off, and I'm just like watching the show because they're doing their work between sessions, and sometimes they'll come and be like, "Oh, I worked through this event that was." I was having these flashbacks, and so I worked through these events, and I did this, and I did this, and then I go check the event, and it's like cleaned up, it's so beautiful, and I just am like, you rock this, and I'm not the only one holding the skill set. They don't have to wait for me to heal. And that's life changing because what we want to get is for to you to get to the place where you're like, I could do it myself. I don't even need to see Rachel anymore. You know, that's great. And then you see me when you want to because you want to, not because you need to, but because you and your brain, it takes a little bit. But it's like all of a sudden there's so much teamwork and you're just overcoming things and you're figuring things out. And I love it. So, but getting to this point is the work. And the faster we can get you skilled, the faster we can get you using the interventions, the more processing is happening. And then we're going to watch all this stuff clean out. We're going to watch symptoms. Your brain's having problems, solving problems, having symptoms, solving symptoms. You'll come in and be like, oh, I had one client was like, I had this really stressful event. I did not have a fit of rage one time. It was so week one, okay? And normally that's why they came because they're like, I have all these outbursts of anger. I can't even control myself and I don't know what's happening. And so they come back, right? And week one, they had this major stressful public event and they would have popped off and they didn't. And so we're celebrating. So now we don't have to work on that anymore. Now we can go deeper. Now we can start root work, right? And so, and this is where my skill set is really important to clients, right? And this is where you're like, thank you. I'm so glad you know how to do this. Yes, this other stuff, just getting your brain up to processing speed is a lot of work, and you will resent me if I do it for you. You will resent any therapist who does that part of this work for you because you're like, it's taking so long. And oh my gosh, right? Now, there are many people who do not have severe anxiety, depression, or complex PTSD diagnoses, and they will go into an EMDR therapist or a tapping therapist. They will have 5 sessions and they will notice the upgrading phenomenalness of their life in 5 sessions. This is awesome and it's wonderful, and not everybody starts there. And if your brain is behind in processing, the farther behind your brain is processing, the more we have to actually address those things and get your brain to speed so that we can get to those 5, 6, 7. You're going to have more than 5, 6, 7 powerful sessions, EMDR sessions, tapping sessions, whatever, deep root work processing, just because of the nature why your brain got so far behind, right? We need to resolve that. So there's a little bit more to it with this. Okay, let me tell you the next point. Um, so the faster we get you up to processing speed, which I have a process for this that is gentle but intensive. And I put clients on this, and usually they will be at a place where we can get to work in about a week if they do it. Not everybody can do it. So sometimes it's 2 weeks. We have to reduce the intensity level because that's just how their life is right now. But it's not something that should take 6 months. And it's common standard for, oh, I started work with them and I didn't get to the deep root work for 6 months. No, I don't want to do that with you. I don't want you to wait 6 months when it doesn't have to take that long. Your system, your mind, your body, your brain, your nervous system is ready to go. It just needs specific support. We're going to give it that. Okay. The third thing is that therapy can start feeling like you're treading water when you're really resistant. And when you're just, oh, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to say that. I don't want to try this. I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to. That's enough for now. There's nothing wrong with that. That is your survival system letting us know that it doesn't think things are safe. And I want to know all the things that you don't think are safe because we walk all of that through your brain's healing process. So the top part of the brain can evaluate, assess that, and figure out if it's accurate or not. Right. And then they're going to fix it. And if it's accurate, they're going to be like, yeah, no, that's scary. But in order to overcome it, we're going to need this, 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 and this. And we'll have to build that. Okay, let's go. Let's go get those and let's build those. And then you'll find that the resistance falls away because your brain all of a sudden feels that your survival system and your whole brain is like, oh, this is safe. We can do this. I want to wait till they get there. I want to wait till they do that because it doesn't take a long time. It can take 30 seconds. It can take 2 minutes. It can take a week on something, right? We're going to still work on other areas because we got brain push-ups to do. We're going to do our push-ups anywhere that's your brain allows us to because it needs to practice. It needs to get stronger. And so as it gets stronger, that's part of it saying, okay, I think we can do this. So we're working through resistance. And we're not making resistance your fault. It's not you're not at fault because you're resistant. This is something your brain is doing because of all the things you've learned in life and all of your experiences. So we are going to help your brain process it to see if it's still dangerous now. And if it is, why and what can we do to help? And your brain will tell us all about this. It will tell you about this. You'll wake up in the morning after having a dream and you'll be like, oh, I see it clearly. You'll be in the shower and your brain will say, oh, because it's working on it while you're not working on it because it's important. And so, but we have to give it the support so that it can actually do the analysis, do the evaluation, and we need to use your resistance, your own resistance, and get that stuff processing, get it to the top of the brain so that it's your brain makes a way for you, and you'll watch the resistance drop down. Okay, so that's that resistance is one of the things that feels like it's treading water. There are therapists who are not good at resistance. It triggers them. It makes them feel like they felt in their childhood. They feel defeated by it, overwhelmed, and I would like them to do their healing work. All of us require inner work growth, especially therapists. And so, if you have one of those therapists, seeing how valuable and awesome resistance is can help you decide what conversations you want to have with them, and if they can overcome this and help and decide to move forward or choose a different route. But you have to be who you are to heal from anxiety, depression, traumatic stress. You can't pretend to be somebody else because your brain will build stuff for somebody else and it will never fit you and you will not heal. And your brain did all that work for somebody else, right? And it's not for you. So we need that. Okay. So another reason that therapy sessions stall and that it feels like you're just treading water is client-led sessions. So this seems counterintuitive because we have so many movies where we go and we lay on the couch and we just talk and they psychoanalyze us, which could be fabulous, but we're talking about recovering from anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. And your brain has to do a lot of work here. And you are not a brain operator specialist yet. And so their clients, since you don't have the skill set, should not be leading the session. I'm going to say that. Okay. Let me push it to you like this. If I, Rachel, take my car to the mechanic and I say, hey, it's not starting and there's making some of these weird noises, and the mechanic says to me, oh, well, where would you like to start today? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I know nothing about this. I brought it here because I have an appointment in 3 hours, and I hope that you can get it fixed by then because I want to get there. Right. So I feel like when you come in, my job is to help you get there with my knowledge. And so who I want leading the session is actually your brain. That's who I want to lead the session. And I'm going to show you what your brain is doing so that we can help your brain get what it needs, so that then it will give you what you need and you get to go to your appointment at whatever, and you get to not have angry outbursts at your employees. You see? And so a lot of times clients will start talking and talking, and they will use the whole time to talk, and there's reasons for that that have to do with defensiveness. It has to do with sensitivity. It has to do with lots of things. But as a therapist, it's my job to gently lead you towards processing. And if we cannot do that yet because your survival system won't let you, we're going to keep processing, and we're going to keep working until we can, because we want your brain leading the show, not your defenses. But we do want your defenses. That was part of the resistance piece. Okay. So this is a little different of a piece. If you're going with a therapist and they're saying to you, where would you like to start today? And you feel that feeling of, I don't know, or gosh, then there could be a really good reason for that. So, thoughts from Rachel. This is also why I have a process and why I give my clients trainings. This is what we're working on. And this is what we're working on this layer. Okay, wow, look at your brain. It did this thing. It did that thing on this layer of work. Great, let's go to the next one. Okay, now you're doing that. Oh, look at your brain is doing both at the same time. Yes, good job, brain. Okay, next. Right? And we're watching it build health and wellness and rebuild abilities it wasn't doing before. And that makes you feel calm, confident, grounded, regardless of what's going on in your life. So it's really, really important that your brain's getting to do its healing work. And if you don't know how to do that, let's let your brain drive this. And in the beginning, I'm going to sit in the front seat with your brain on this drive, because I'm going to listen to your brain. But then I'm going to move you to the front seat, and I'm going to be in the back seat. And then you and your brain are going to drive us around. We're going to look at the sights and see what your brain sees and see what it's working on and see what it's blocking it. And pretty soon, then I'm going to get out of the car and I'm going to watch you guys drive around and see how you're doing. And then we're going to talk about it. And then we're going to do some more brain work, going to get you two really collaborating well together. And then I'm going to go back, to my island. My brain's telling me about the beach. I'm going to go to the beach and be there. And every once in a while, we'll check in and see how you're driving. Right. But we're not going to do a situation where you're going to drive, your brain's in the back seat, and I'm sitting right next to you in the car. No, we're not doing that right now. That's not what we're doing. And so we need to change the positions so that because we're doing this to help your brain do what it needs to do. Now, when people are done with me, right, it's time for them to sit in the front, their brain to sit on the side, and then they actually have a preference for going and learning more things, or like skydiving, or couples therapy, or what's it called, and because now their brain is doing what it needs to do, and now they're partnering, and now they're on to bigger and better things. And every once in a while, when they're in their brain and they're bickering, they'll show back up and be like, we can't get this resolved. And then I'll help them get it back together. Okay. And so those are some reasons why this goes off the rails. And those are easy fixes. Those are very, very simple shifts. And so I want to tell you a couple of things as we wrap up, that I am a proponent of working with your brain very differently than we do in traditional talk therapy because of the work that needs to be done. Not because talk therapy is bad or wrong. It is fantastic for what it is good for. But if your brain cannot process and it can't do some specific things that it needs to be able to do, then your talk therapy is going to be a failing event for you and for your brain. And I don't want you or that therapist set up for that. And um, so what I want to tell you is one, I would love for you to try some interventions. I have a free program where I teach you my 3 favorite interventions. I give these to all of my clients when they start. They're gentle, they're soft, they're fast. One is super complex, but it's awesome. So I share that one as well. You notice changes instantly. So I want to invite you to try all those. Two, I have a program that of all of the 3 interventions I use for my clients that are so overwhelmed with they're so behind in processing that we cannot process together. And this is the homework I give them to use for 2 weeks or a week. And so it helps them do the brain work of getting caught up, and it's super awesome. And it positions them to do a lot in therapy, and also it gives them their confidence back. And it also gives them their grounding. Like they feel foggy, they feel dissociated, they feel spirally, they feel overwhelmed. These are great exercises for that and transformational. It does a lot of building and stuff like that, but that's not what I want to talk about. I'm not going to nerd about that. Okay. But that program is called Rise Out of Overwhelm. And that's where I put those things. So if you're in a position with your therapist where they're like we have to focus on stabilizing you, you're not very stable right now, or you're too flooded with emotion, or you come to sessions and you're crying uncontrollably and we really can't make any progress. Rise Out of Overwhelm is the program I developed to help you rise out of that brain state. And you're helping your brain succeed in things. And so it just does a lot of awesome things. Okay. I have another program, and this is the program I walk people through resolving their disorder, resolving their symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. And also, this is the same program I use to help people reach their goals, because these are the brain tasks that need to be accomplished, and the brain needs to be good at these. And we will come to parts of life where the brain says, I don't have the skill for this. And so we say, no problem, let's build it. And so we jump in and help. That's an 8-week program called Inner World Transformation. And that's the one I'm doing with my coaching clients, with my therapy clients. And you can access that too, especially if you have a therapist you already like, a coach you already like, or you're someone like me who just wants to do the work by yourself. That's how I started. Now I like working with others when needed, but this work gave me a lot of privacy in my healing journey and a lot of control, which I needed all the control. And we get like that. And if you're like that, I still want you to have strategies for healing, and that's why I've made this available. So um, I I think you'll really like this, and that even if you're doing your own work or you're working with a therapist or one day you're working with me, um, this is a great place to start. It positions you so powerfully for healing, wellness, growth, transformation, and really being proud of who you are. Really having authentic self-confidence. Um, Gosh, and I say something like repaired function and restored function, and that sounds so nerdy and geeky, but if I could just tell you what that looks like in real life, it would be so satisfying. But it is like the thing. If you're struggling with your daughter and you can't have a calm conversation with her, um, you have a function of you have a mind body system function not occurring. We want to restore that, and you're going to watch automatically your conversations with her get better. If you have this problem at work and you just keep bumping your head into it over and over again, you have impaired function there. Something the elevator is not getting to the top for some reason. You get in there, resolve that, elevator gets to the top, bing, new ideas, insights, and all of a sudden automatically you're making different decisions and bringing in new opportunities. So I don't know how to make that more awesome yet. uh, what you're going to get is restored function, right? I'm sorry, that's all I got right now. So but we will work on developing that language and understanding probably for the rest of my life. So anyway, Wonderful connecting with you all. I hope this helps, and I hope you see that the stalls and the treading water in therapy is likely not even about you, but that there's things to be done about it because it doesn't need to be there, and we don't have to stay in that space for extended amounts of time. All right. Good luck in your work and wishing you the best. Take care. Bye.